Welcome to an Eternal format video. Gonna do things a little different going forward with the Eternal format videos. I've been doing big tournament videos every time I've done an Eternal format tournament. I think I'm gonna break them down round by round now, just to make it a little bit easier for me to get them out at a reasonable speed. Also makes the videos a little shorter, a little easier to digest. So this will be the first of many. Hopefully I'll be able to do them just about every week. There'll probably be a break every once in a while just because of how the tournaments space out, but hopefully this works out and hopefully it's a little better for everyone. Just real quick, I want to explain what the Eternal format even is. Eternal format is a format consisting of all of the sets from the Pokemon trading card game, all the way back to the original base set with a ban list. That's the very short rundown. If you want to check out the Eternal format or learn more about it, go to justinbasil.com/eternal and you'll learn more. Today's game is a replacement game for the round one game from the September 2023 tournament. This is a pretty great game that we recorded here at my place instead of a game store where the tournament took place. Dragons are at Alamo Ranch here in San Antonio, Texas. That said, this is a pretty interesting game. It's a fun one to watch. We do misplay quite a bit back and forth. I'll get to call myself out, call the other player out. For once, it's not just the other players getting picked on. I make some terrible plays, but this is the first time the other player got to play their Pikarom deck for Eternal, and I got some more practice in with this particular build of Banette. I have tweaked the deck a little bit since this particular game, but all the same, this is a fun one. Let's look at the deck lists. Let's first look at my Banette list. This is a list I've developed since Houndoom was banned. I built this shortly after Houndoom got the whack. Of course, it features Oddish and that evolution line, so of course I like it. Banette, of course, is a very strong attacker with a Poltergeist attack that does 60 damage for each trainer card in your opponent's hand. Playdoll lets me draw cards. Azelf lets me search out pieces that I need, most particularly the Vileplume with the Poke Power that shuts off item cards. If you look at the Undaunted Vileplume, it says trainer cards, but do be aware that in that era, a trainer card refers specifically to item cards, and that is how that card is treated. It's how any card from that era is treated. All of Diamond Pearl block cards refer to item cards as trainer cards, so just keep that in mind when you're looking at those cards. That said, if you look at the rest of the list, there is a Lapras to search out supporter cards when needed. There are a few peculiarities in the list. Obviously, this deck is very supporter heavy instead of item heavy. The deck does still run some item cards because especially turn one, it needs them. So Green's Exploration is like the deck's engine at the moment. It's what we're using to set everything up. So Green's Exploration gets me a rare candy and an evolution incense, or a rare candy and a luxury ball. Or if I really need it, maybe a fog crystal for an energy attachment, or a floatstone, artisan, computer search, whatever it may be. Green's Exploration is getting me stuff. It allows me to get the supporters I need for following turns. It's very useful. The other cards in the deck that you might not be familiar with or that you might not be used to seeing in decks, to put it nicely, Jacques is actually extremely good in this deck and is actually one of the best supporters in it. It allows you to just find 2 evolution Pokemon and put them into your hand. That's extremely useful in this deck. That allows you to get Banette and Vileplume. If you already have a rare candy in your hand, you'll probably go for that. It's just great. Jacques is super important to this deck. Also very important is Roseanne's Research. Roseanne's Research says you can get up to 2 in any combination of basic Pokemon and basic energy cards. That is extremely critical when you've item locked yourself and you need to be able to set up another Banette, right? If you're item locked, you can't be using fog crystals or luxury balls and all those other item cards to search stuff out. You need to be able to set them up without items. And so Roseanne's is a lot of times going to be the way you do that. She also allows you to find the energy cards you need to attach to those Pokemon that you're evolving up. Additionally, there is Pokemon Collector. Pokemon Collector is an extraordinarily strong supporter that lets you find up to 3 basic Pokemon and put them into your hand. Yes, into your hand. That means you can do stuff like put Lapras into your hand and then save that for next turn and play down that Lapras if it doesn't get disrupted away and get your supporter for next turn. It is stupid powerful. It also allows you to get the other Pokemon that you want to set up. If you find Pokemon Collector turn 1, you can get a Ball Toy or an Oddish or whatever it is you're missing and set up. Super strong card. Definitely worth having a one of in the deck. Additionally, you may not be familiar with Rocket's Admin. Rocket's Admin is extremely similar to In. Both of these cards allow you to shuffle your hand into your deck. In says draw until you have the same number of prize cards as you have remaining. So if you have 4 prize cards left, then you draw 4 prize cards. Rocket's Admin, however, says shuffle your hand into your deck and draw up to that number of cards. So not quite the same thing, but very similar. So you don't have to draw those cards. It's a small difference, but it does kind of matter in certain matchups when you don't want to go decking yourself out, which Vileplume can sometimes do against certain opponents that are trying to force you to deck yourself out when you're trying to deck them out, especially against decks that you're trying to lock out with Disgusting Pollen. Next up, we have Pikarom. Pikarom, for those who are familiar, has crazy attacks. Its first attack, Full Blitz, says that it does 150 damage for 3 lightning energy and reads search your deck for up to 3 lightning energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Additionally, it has Tag Bolt GX, which does 200 damage, and that's for 3 lightning energy plus. And it says, if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra lightning energy attached to it in addition to this attack's cost, this attack does 170 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance for benched Pokemon. You can't use more than 1 GX attack in a game. So you're going to be powering up Pikarom as fast as you can with Electric Generator and with Max Elixir. You're going to be churning through your deck as quickly as you can. You have cards like Zeraora with its Thunderclap Zone that allows you to have free retreat on all of your Pokemon that have lightning energy attached. You also have Jolteon EX. Jolteon EX primarily is used for its use of Flash Ray. Flash Ray does 70 damage and says during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. So if your opponent is playing, for example, United Wings and you get Jolteon out, you can just wall them. If you're playing in the mirror against another Pikarom player, you can just wall them out. It's a pretty interesting tech. Not the strongest, but it does work in the right situations. You have access to Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX, which has Tandem Shock, which does 80 plus damage for lightning colorless. And it says, if this Pokemon was on the bench and became your active Pokemon during this turn, this attack does 80 more damage and your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. So if you need to stall out your opponent, that's a great way to do it. Additionally, it has Lightning Ride GX, which does 150 plus damage for lightning colorless plus. It says, switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. If this Pokemon has at least 2 extra lightning energy attached to it, in addition to this attack's cost, this attack does 100 more damage. You can't use more than 1 GX attack in a game. So it could be a big boom, basically. So getting 250, not horrible, not amazing in this format. You are going to want a bit more damage than that, but you do have access to Electropower. If you're familiar with the power tablets in the current format with Mew, Electropower came before and does exactly the same thing, but for lightning Pokemon instead of fusion Pokemon. So you're getting 30 extra damage for each Electropower you play. Super strong. Otherwise, this deck plays fairly straightforward build. You have some Bravery Charm to boost the HP of Pikarom, to boost the HP of Jolteon, to boost the HP of Zeraora. You also have Thunder Mountain Prism Star that reduces the attack cost of your Pokemon by 1 lightning energy. Thunder Mountain Prism Star does mean that if you have it out, you'll be able to use Pikarom's big attack for just 2 energy. So that's the attack that does 150 damage and accelerates 3 energy from the deck. All right, with that said, let's jump into the game. All right, we're getting shuffled up, getting set up. Nice little quick setup here. Through the magic of editing, we don't have to wait for everything to happen. We just kind of whiz through it. I started Oddish. He started Tapu Koko Prism Star. Tapu Koko Prism Star is not a great start for him. The Oddish in this matchup actually was a really good start. And here we have what I would consider my first misplay. Now, mentally, I'm thinking I should go ahead and prepare for not being able to get the Vileplume down turn 2. So I'm saying, okay, let's go ahead and set up a Banette. But I think this was actually just a misplay. There's very little chance that I miss the turn 2 Vileplume, and you'll watch this really come to punish me later. We do see a Lapras on my opponent's side, grabs the Professor's Research right out of the deck. Not much of a thought there, just says, you know what, my hand sucks, let's grab something else. They get that, just that. We do see an Electric Generator before that is used. And it hits 1, so 1 energy is attached to that Pikarom. So Electric Generator says look at the top 5 cards of your deck and attach up to 2 basic lightning energy you find there to one of your benched lightning Pokemon. So it's pretty good. You have the Max Elixir, it's similar. It's attaching to bench basics and only 1 basic energy, but it's any energy. Another shake up there. That Pikarom already has 2 energies on it. Really devastating. You get a Thunder Mountain now, and it's already attacking with its first attack. You see that Research finally come down. They're choosing to play down that Electropower just in case they get an attack off this turn. We do see an Acrobike going in for a little bit more. Choosing to discard that Jolteon. The Jolteon EX, not really relevant in this matchup. Probably not worth keeping. Do you see 4 cards off that Trainer's Mail. Getting a Guzma, very good choice. Guzma, of course, is going to be my undoing here because what they can do is they can gust up that Shuppet and they just KO it and the Vileplume at the same time, because it's going to do 200 to the active, 170 to the bench. The Shuppet doesn't get a chance to evolve up before Pikarom gets powered up with that with its GX attack. It's going to be really bad for me, because if that Vileplume, if Disgusting Pollen Vileplume is not in the active spot, it's not preventing the basic Pokemon from attacking, so it's going to get hit. Here we see you drop Green's Exploration. I believe that was my top deck, which is okay, I guess. It's a good top deck to get, but not having Green's Exploration in my opening hand is why I played so recklessly with that Shuppet, because I was concerned that I wasn't going to get the Vileplume. I do get the Vileplume here. You see the Vileplume come out with a rare candy from that Greens. Immediately I evolve it up with the Disgusting Pollen. And then kind of just I'm contemplating what else I can do. It looks like I use Artisan, getting another Pokemon down, thinking I need to have another Oddish down just in case something happens to the one that's out. Maybe I can even get another Vileplume out, rather, and that could be perhaps the item lock Vileplume to make his deck even struggle more. Ultimately, I don't think that was a good idea. I should have just left the Shuppet, or maybe even put another Shuppet down, just concede the fact that I was going to lose the Shuppet and the Vileplume at some point. You see a Lightning Energy attachment to that Tapu Koko Prism Star so they can retreat later. And we see another Pikarom hit the bench. My opponent looking at that Vileplume to see what the wording is on that card. We do see a Guzma. Guzma not being played just yet. There it goes. Guzma is being played. They are going to gust up the Shuppet. Take out that energy from play. Didn't manage to get it evolved into a Banette, so it's real easy pickings for that Pikarom, unfortunately. Pikarom is going to take a knockout. Now, this is his first big misplay. You see the energy attachment to the benched Pikarom. It would have been better had he attached the active and used that to then, once again, Gus KO my Pokemon. That would have ended the game right then and there, and he would have just won off of that alone. But he didn't, so it is what it is. I did play Iono, I believe. Yeah, I got the Iono. I did get the Banette after my poor Shuppet got knocked out. We did realize that he'd hit into Horror Psychic Energy, so he actually had to put 20 energy on that Pikarom. Not especially relevant, but it needed to be put down there to maintain good game state. Artisan did get discarded, and Thunder Mountain Prism Star came out. We see the Bravery Charm on that active Pikarom, looking to hit the Electric Generator there. And it looks like it's a whiff, unfortunately. And then a Versus Seeker going after the Guzma. Once again, choosing to gust up the benched Pokemon that is not Vileplume. Actually, he's contemplating not playing it, realizing that might actually be an issue. Because if he knocks out that Oddish, it's game over. He now no longer has any sort of recourse. So you see the Thunderclap Zone Zero Aura out. Fish that out with a Quick Ball. And it's a good thing that he realized that gusting up that Oddish was a bad plan right now, because he doesn't have the energy necessary to KO both Pokemon with a GX attack. He does play the Guzma anyway in the hopes that it will stick, but as I recall correctly, he doesn't end up attacking here, despite originally planning to. He did realize that that was not a good play, because that Oddish would have been... You don't knock out the Oddish because it ends your game. Save Oddish lives. Okay. I do see a Floatstone, literally my top deck, retreating right back into that Vileplume, forcing him to find another way to Guzma up the Oddish once he has the energy. He's going to have to manually attach that bench Pikarom. I'm not sure if he has energy in hand at the moment, so he's going to have to find a way to do that. Did see a computer search. I think he goes for a research, if I'm not mistaken. Just trying to draw cards. His hand kind of sucked there. He needs a fresh hand anyway. Going for a Versus Seeker, it looks like, actually. Gonna burn the Versus Seeker, maybe? Definitely want to hold on to those Versus Seekers as much as you can. As I recall, his deck only runs 3, so they are a precious commodity. You really need those Guzmas in this matchup. Yeah, that is a Professor's Research he took off the top there. A wise play. And gonna draw 7 fresh cards. Definitely what you want to do. Fresh cards are good cards. See a Bravery Charm come down on that new active Pikarom. And the Electric Generator, it's 2 energy. See, if he'd had Guzma this turn or some other way to gust me, that would have been game over with that Thunder Mountain Prism Star out. Unfortunately, since he'd had to research to get into that Electric Generator, couldn't quite take it out this turn. But that puts me in a huge threat of getting knocked out this next turn. So I'm realizing this and realizing I need to do something now or I'm going to lose. So I throw down Shuppet and prepare to just go in full on Banette and realize, you know what? It's not going to happen. Just I'll evolve it up just in case he doesn't see the play, but he's going to see the play. I need to get the Shuppet down. I need to avoid getting benched out. Basically, I need to, if I lose that Vileplume and now the Gloom, I'm done. So get the Shuppet out, force him to do something about it. He is going to play the Versus Seeker. He's going to get that Guzma. You know that Guzma's coming down. That Gloom is coming up to the active spot, and there is going to be a double KO, which is unfortunately extremely damaging to my original plan in this matchup. But I did get the Shuppet down. I did realize I needed to do something about it. Didn't manage to do the dumbest thing there, even though I'd played pretty poorly up until now. We do see the Shuppet go to the active spot because it's my only Pokemon, but I do have the Banette in hand. I do have the other energy in hand. I just, do what I can. I don't have any abilities in play anymore now that Vileplume's gone, so I can use Green's Exploration again. I'm looking through my deck, trying to decide what I should get. His GX attacks is burned now, so I'm not as concerned about losing a benched Pokemon. So I do get a Green's Exploration for next turn, and Arzon, of course, not only going to bump his Stadium card, but also going to allow me to find another Pokemon in my deck. I'm going to go ahead and see about him. I can talk. I'm going to go ahead and see about getting him item locked at this point with another Vileplume. So I do grab an Oddish, and I hit him with Poltergeist there. You see my very dramatic hand flare. That is a knockout. Boom. Go away, Pikarom. It is gone. You see the Pikarom come to the active spot, the other Pikarom come to the active spot, and then he's going to use Dance to the Ancients, which is the ability on Tapu Koko Prism Star, allows him to attach 2 Lightning Energy to his bench Pokemon, or to 1 each to 2 of his bench Pokemon, and he's supposed to discard the cards attached to Tapu Koko Prism Star. He actually put them in the Lost Zone. We didn't catch that at the time, but that Lightning Energy actually should be in the discard pile, not in the Lost Zone. Max Elixir missed, it looks like, unfortunately. Did you see an Electro Power rather? It's not going to be quite enough. The damage on Pikarom's attack is only 150, and even with Electro Power, it's 180. So it's just, At this point, that double KO really was the big sauce, and it's kind of not great anymore now that I've got 260 HP. We do see the judge in this particular situation looking at the card, looking at Zeraora. We were discussing a play that could have been made potentially, but Zeraora actually got rid of that potential play with Thunderclap Zone. So we do see the Guzma gusting up that Oddish and just taking it out. So he basically used the free retreat on the Mew to swap it back into the Pikarom. We do see the Poltergeist come down there, and that is a devastating amount of trainer cards, but it's like even with the Bravery Charm there, it's still just enough to knock it out, and that is game. So crazy game, fun game, misplays on both sides, but a fun one all the same. If you found yourself interested in the Eternal format, enjoyed this game, or at least enjoyed the card pool that happens to be involved in this format, you might be interested, if you're in the San Antonio area, to join us on October 14th at 11 a.m. for the next Eternal format special event. You don't want to miss it if you're in the area. If you're not in the area, maybe get close to the area at some point and join us for one of them. They are super fun. That said, that's all for this video today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.